fellow critical thinkers. I'm producing this little presentation for you just to try to get across a couple of points I've been attempting to make. Part of it has to do with that extra credit opportunity that I'd certainly like some of you to embrace. The other part of it has to do with the distinction between inductive and deductive arguments. So I'm going to concentrate a little bit on induction at this point in time. I'm very pleased that most of you have a grasp of what it means to have an inference pattern. But remember that there are certain things that you need to be aware of that are, true of both induction and deduction. Words like therefore, conclusion indicators, and also premise indicators. You can have premise indicators and conclusion indicators in both inductive argument forms and deductive argument forms. So that alone doesn't, mean that you're able to distinguish between the two. What you have to look at is the relationship between the premises and the conclusion. And let's say in an ideal situation you have an inductive argument that has two premises and a conclusion is related to those premises. Essentially what we're saying is, in induction, and this is just the bare minimum description, that the better the premises, the better the conclusion. So the more likely the premises are true, then the more likely it is that the conclusion will follow. So to get a little bit of a better idea, let's talk briefly about the relationship between premises and conclusions in a deductive argument. There are various kinds of inductive arguments. Generalization. This is a situation in which a conclusion proceeds from specific examples. For example, there are basketball players from the 1980s who have scored at least 5 points on average. Therefore, basketball players from the 1980s have scored at least 5 points on average. What we call a statistical syllogism. Here's an example. All policemen who are at least 40 years of age have apprehended at least 2 traffic violators. Thomas is a policeman who's 43 years of age. So there is a probability, or it probably follows, that Thomas has already apprehended at least 2 traffic violators while in service. Case of simple induction. A third of college essays in Trentworth Academy received B+ for the grade. Harry submitted his college essay for literature in Trentworth Academy. Therefore, probably, or there is some probability, that Harry will receive a B+ for his essay. But see, the point here is that there's a probability, but you can't be certain about it. Another example, the argument from analogy. This can be very powerful if used judiciously. Selma is a driving lessons instructor. She is diligent, trustworthy, and kind. Jennifer is also a driving lessons instructor. She is diligent and trustworthy, so she's probably also kind. Now, see, you could be wrong, but you are providing some important reasons and relationships between the case of Selma and the case of Jennifer. Something we do all the time, causal inferences. Albert always takes an afternoon jog in the city park. After a few minutes of jogging, he finds himself being chased by dogs. Therefore, Albert will be chased by dogs if he will jog in a city park. So, it's a causal inference. It could be wrong. You can't have certainty about this, but this is the way life works sometimes. You do your best job with the information you have and observations and patterns that you've made in order to try to conclude that in all probability something will happen. But if it doesn't, that doesn't necessarily mean it was a bad causal inference. It means that there's some things we still don't know, some factors we have not entertained. Prediction is similar to this, particularly weather forecasts. How often are weather forecasts correct? I study weather forecasts a lot, and I would say that, without becoming controversial about it, it's better to just kind of go out, look at your window, and see what's going on sometimes. Anyway, predictions like forecasts. In the past 10 years, 20 of the 50 firemen in the county have helped save homes from fires. Therefore, there is a probability that the other 30 of the 50 firemen in the county will help save homes from fire. We hope that that will be the case. But you can kind of see how that goes. It's not certain, but it does give you some compelling reason to think that it might be true. A very important point to consider is that the strength of the inductive argument heavily relies on the strength of the individual premises. That's what we started out with in my little presentation here. The likelihood or probability of the premises in an inductive reasoning to be true is not always fixed. So you should take good care when choosing which premises to use in an inductive argument. And this hyperlink we're not going to go to. We could, but it's a little bit of a website. I'll see if we can grab a bit of screenshot of it here. This is a really neat little URL website leading to, how it is to structure an inductive argument. Now, it's something to start thinking about. I hope you start thinking about it by, the spring break. You might be very busy doing other things, including, if there is any snow anywhere close to you, going skiing. But there might be some traces of that. Whatever you want to do. Maybe you could go to Hawaii. Maybe you just have to work really hard. But it might be a good idea to consider what kind of argument you want to come up with, because that's going to be due toward the end of the semester. Don't let it get on the back burner so much that you forget all about it until 2 nights before it's due, because you will not get the best grade you otherwise could. The book has tips all throughout it on how to write a good paper, and in our class we also have quite a few references and links, and I know some of you have had a hard time finding them, but do take a good close look at the course lessons areas, the weekly lessons areas. You should see several different ways of approach that I've posted up there to how to do a paper. Okay, well, thank you very much for your attention. Keep up the good work, and I hope to be talking to you soon in one of our virtual office hours. So, I'd like to conclude by suggesting that you consider doing something like a little mini video and popping it up in a couple of discussion forums so you can get that wonderful extra credit. It could be that maybe during spring break you're going to have a little bit of time to experiment. It could be a simple YouTube video, could be something with slides like I'm presenting to you here. Let me know if I can help you with anything at all. I'm looking forward to working with you on helping you to get more acclimated to the idea that perhaps we can use some of this great technology that we have at our disposal for enhanced communications. Then again, we don't want it to interfere either with what we're doing. Looking forward to talking to you soon.